So I'd like to welcome Coface, and they're going to be talking about building culture through diversity. And I see Jackie, I see Sarah, and I'm going to guess you're Shazia and not Seho. Is Seho here as well? Okay. So ladies, as usual, please introduce yourselves. I'm going to be standing in the corner there. The first time is to let you know you have about 5 minutes. The second time is with my invisible hook. Yeah? So have fun. Thank you.
We are Coface, and sharing our story with you today is Jackie, our country CEO, Shazia, our head of marketing, and myself, Sarah, head of HR. We don't have the brand exposure in South Africa that some of our other panelists that we've shared the stage with today have. You may not have heard of us for one of two reasons. Firstly, we're a smaller organization in South Africa, so our programs and things that we do and implement don't have the scale of other larger organizations in South Africa. The second reason you may not have heard of us is that we operate exclusively within the business-to-business space. So we don't do any above-the-line advertising, and we don't do any advertising to individuals. But we do still think that our story is very translatable to other organizations in South Africa, as well as larger organizations. Just to make sure that our story makes sense, Jackie, won't you please give us a bit of a taste of what Coface does?
Right, so Coface is a credit insurance company. So we operate in over 100 countries around the world, and we're listed on the French Stock Exchange. Very simply, what we do is short-term insurance, and we insure debtors' books, which is the most valuable asset on any business's balance sheet. We help with risk assessment of the buyers that the companies are going to deal with. We partner with our clients through the journey, through the trade transactions, and if that goes wrong, we then pay a claim, take possession of the debt, and collect the money. So really quite a niche short-term insurance product, but very valuable, especially in the tough economic times that we're facing today. I just want to say all the speakers have been so inspirational this morning, and we really feel privileged to be up on stage with players like R&B, with Thomson Reuters, with Schneider, who's one of our clients, by the way.
So our story today is really about the culture swing that we've undergone since 2014. The visuals that you'll see behind us while we're having our conversation is what our current culture looks like today. So it's a few informal pictures of the team at different events and just activities that we've had. So Shazia, would you describe our culture today?
So, well, basically, our culture today is a team of engaged experts. We are solution-driven people that problem solve, and we communicate effectively in all areas of the business. We also pride ourselves in our values, which are not just words, but are truly entrenched in our organization. Some of these values, these values are collaboration, client focus, courage and accountability, expertise, as well as integrity. With that being said, we've got a strong local culture, but we still manage to be part of a multinational company, and we have a direct presence in 67 countries. So that is the Coface flag all over the world. And we may be a smaller company of Coface in South Africa, but we manage to still share some of our best practices with our group, and we also leverage some synergies with them as well.
So you can hear that our culture today is significantly different to where it was in 2014. And it's been shown in our results as well, which really are directly related to our people. So within the last 18 months, we've been able to grow the business by 18%. We've also returned to profitability. And our employee turnover, which was significantly high, so similar to some of the other panelists that we've heard today, has reduced to a much healthier level at the moment. So where we were in 2014 we really needed to turn our culture on its head. And we weren't really sure where to start. We didn't really have a setup or infrastructure which really facilitated that. We didn't have a talent department. We didn't have an HR department. We didn't have any blue sky strategy for us to work with. We didn't have a budget either. What we really actually needed to do was just get going and get started on this journey. So we had a look at what we did have. And what we did have was we had an HR resource and we had an idea. And the idea was to use a particular lever within the organization to really swing the culture. And that was really diversity. So nurturing and building on the diversity that we had within the organization. So the very first thing that we did was we implemented a very small-scale intern program. Unfortunately, the first year of our intern program was not successful. We needed to really introspect after that and take a lot of learnings from that program. From that false start, it really did give us that opportunity to do that. And we were really happy in retrospect that we'd taken that first step and been able to drive and take those learnings forward into future intern programs that have been much more successful within the business. So what did we learn in terms of the successful implementation of our intern program? The first one was really the time investment in these young graduates. So really important for these individuals with so much potential early on in their career is to coach them and mentor them, but possibly even more important than that is really just to give them a sounding board, a place, someone they can talk to, someone they can vent a little bit even if they've been frustrated by a particular workplace incident, someone to help them formulate some type of response and the appropriate response within the working environment to these small things. And this is really what's often overlooked when these young individuals are starting their careers, because very small incidents can become or can impact the reputation of these individuals within the business. And it was something that that by avoiding and by giving a sort of safe place for these interns to chat to someone and vent, it really assisted them with building credibility within the organization. The other thing that we really encouraged was cohesion of each intern intake as a group. So we encouraged them to learn from each other. We encouraged them by putting together group Q&As, where, because our interns are spread out within different functions of the organization, it gave them an opportunity to ask questions, things that they've seen in the business, things that they've read about, why do we do this in this particular area, and letting the interns explain to each other. So this is why we have done this in this particular area. This is why we are responding in this particular way and why we've got this particular process in place. And it really helped create quite a positive team of engaged individuals that, when that was disseminated across the organization, really had quite a big impact on energizing and engaging other employees within our business. So it really assisted us taking that first step on our culture journey. So keeping our diversity target in mind, we did work with our female interns a bit more closely with the male interns. We found that they didn't come across as naturally confident as the males and didn't impress the wider organization as quickly, just because of that confidence and the way that perhaps they communicated. In saying this, though, we've always given opportunities to all our employees when it's the right decision. So we've managed to keep all our males within the organization on sides with everything that we're doing throughout this diversity and culture building journey. So apart from race and gender diversity, there was two quite big strategic benefits that we were able to realize from our intern program. The first was that we were able to use it as a key component of our recruitment strategy, where previous interns who've been really well trained and really do understand the technical nature of our business very well have been able to move on into very key positions within the organization. So Shazia, who's actually a previous intern, is a really excellent example of that. Tell us a bit more about how our intern program impacts the recruitment strategy and overall employee movements of the business, Shazia.
Well, in my personal experience, I believe that the intern program equipped me to be able to move into many different roles in the organization. I actually completed my degree with an unusual match of majors in finance and marketing, but Coface still gave me the opportunity to be exposed to both fields. I believe that the intern program allowed me to gain very versatile skills. As Sarah mentioned, that the interns were encouraged to interact amongst one another on a consistent basis and share our experiences as well as knowledge that we'd gained in other departments in the organization. In saying that, I then moved from the field of from the information and research department, which is our enhanced information department. I moved into the role of marketing, which is a completely different field, but I felt that the internship had equipped me with enough knowledge of the company so that I would be able to function correctly or positively in the new function. Another thing that that I learned from the internship program was the strong support that I received from the leaders at Coface. They were always willing to provide me with all the assistance that I needed. When you're a new graduate, your next challenge is then to find a reputable company to work for. And I'd been for several interviews, and I was looking for the right company, a place where I could use my degree, upskill myself, and also fit in. And Coface did that for me because I was able to move into different departments and also, like I said, mentioned, gain the support from the strong leadership there as well. Towards the ending of my internship, I did look around a little bit because you're told to keep your options open, and I was not sure what my next step was going to be. But because of the culture of Coface and the opportunities that there were, I was drawn to stay at Coface. Another point of the internship program is that although the interns were easily able to slot in to different departments, this actually freed up more opportunities for other employees in the company.
Exactly right. And our stats do confirm that. So 33% of our employees are actually in a different function now to where they originally started within the business. And if you include new employees and the new interns, 39% of our employees have had a meaningful career change within the last 18 months within the business. So it is really something that we really look to promote and nurture within the business. So feeding our recruitment and talent pipeline really is one of the main benefits from our intern program. The second was that it's given us generational diversity within the business. So we've heard a couple of the previous panelists talking about the millennials. And as much as we've trained, nurtured, upskilled, built up these individuals, we've also learnt a lot from them as well. Jackie, won't you share with us the mentoring program that you've been involved in?
Thanks. So over my 25-year career with the same company, by the way, I started as a filing clerk with the company, believe it or not. I've mentored a lot of people in the business, and early in my career, I had a lot of great mentors in my life. What I was thinking last year sometime is I'm getting much, much older, and the team is getting much, much younger. So there's something I can learn. One of my drivers is development of myself. And I thought to myself, I need to learn about the millennials. I need to learn what drives them. I need to learn what makes them tick and what they want to see in the company. So at a year-end function or a mid-year function, I opened it up to the team and I said, team, I'm looking for a volunteer. I need a mentor. I need a millennial mentor. And I got a fantastic mentor, Numta. She's 27 something. And we meet on a weekly basis and we talk about the company. We talk about the people in the company. We talk about what the expectations are of the millennials from the business. And as Sarah says, we're learning from that process. We're learning as how to change the business for the future. We're learning how to manage different generations. So for me, that has been one of the best things I've implemented since my appointment early last year, is to actually learn from the young people coming into the organization and changing the way we manage and changing the way we run the organization.
And if your experience is like mine, you do receive a fair number of emails giving tips about how to manage and integrate millennials into your organization, even breakfasts and conferences that address this very topic. For us, this reverse mentoring program has cost us nothing, but has really given us a huge amount of insight into our millennials and really kept them on sides with the business and what we're doing and how we're doing it. What this reverse mentoring program's also done is it's really demonstrated a key driver that we needed to really swing our culture, which is really the top-down support. So we did see a change in our group culture when our new group CEO was appointed at the beginning of 2017, and we saw it locally as well when Jackie was appointed as our country CEO last year.
And I think, Sarah, it was a perfect opportunity for me because one of my passions is development of people. And being an empowered woman, one of my soft points is developing and mentoring other young women coming to the organization. So it was really a good opportunity for us as an executive team to bring those maybe softer topics onto the agenda and to give them the focus that they need. We don't have a big budget, but we have time. And we have spent over the last 18 months a lot of time on these types of initiatives, which have, you can see in the pictures, have changed our culture. Our culture in 2014 was one of mistrust. It was one of silos. It was one of lack of communication. So what we've done in the last 18 months or so, Sarah, I would say, is change that culture to be very open, very communicative, sorry, I can't say the word, very open door. And the business is really driven by the people, and we listen to the team. And every individual in the organization is so, so important. We only around 60 people in South Africa, 4,000 worldwide, but here we're a tiny team. And every single individual in our organization has a critical role to play. We don't have any spare resources in the cupboard. Every single person has to contribute and has to be present and has to be committed. And that is what our culture shift has done for the business, is we have committed and engaged employees.
We've heard about employees looking for meaning in their work and finding meaning at work previously today. And I think this really is magnified by the millennial generation. So we've had to do things a bit differently to the way we previously did them. A small example is our outreach programs that we do. So as a smaller organization, we would previously have made donations or written a check and left it at that. Now we've actually started involving employees and being quite visible in terms of those types of things that we do. We've also had a look at our impact on the environment. We're not a manufacturing organization, so we don't have as much of an impact as other companies, but we've looked at that. We've looked at ways that we can be greener, and we're trying to communicate that to employees as well. In addition, we've introduced meaning into the actual job as well. So we actually did we called it the Top 3 Objectives campaign last year, where, and if I read you our top 3 objectives, you'll hear, and they probably won't make much sense to you. And initially for our employees, they don't really make much sense at face value either. So we talk about turnover growth, we talk about global cost ratio, and we talk about loss ratio. So what we actually did last year was we did a campaign where we explained to every single employee within the business how what their job does has an impact on those top 3 objectives within the business. So it's really created their space in this bigger picture as to as to where they fit in and why what they're doing, even though it's quite a small part of the organization, really has a significant impact on our overall results within the business. So this sort of bringing in meaning into the job and what we're doing a bit differently in terms of looking at the environment and our outreach is part of our internal communication. Shazia, I'm sure you'll agree our internal communications improved significantly over the last few years.
Absolutely, Sarah. We ramped up our internal communication significantly after there was a group employee engagement survey that was conducted in 2017 called My Voice. In a direct response to this survey, we then put together a group of employees in our local team to basically drive the activities that was mentioned in the survey that the employees had pointed out. We also put together some sub-streams that we could then focus and drive specific areas such as engagement and career development, also internal events. This then helped us to link the responses that we'd received from the survey to and actually making it effective in the in our day-to-day, basically.
My Voice has really been an opportunity for us to link and storytell all of our activity on our culture building. So everything that we're doing, we can link back to inputs that we had within that employee survey. And it's really helped us to sort of create that common thread in our storytelling within the business.
Sarah, we also started our internal marketing on defining our employer brand. So we put together an employee value proposition, which we now communicate to employees almost every week, not only mentioning the benefits, but also for them to understand how our environment is and finding meaning at work and really being a meaningful workplace. Exactly what you said earlier.
And we've put together our employer value proposition in the form of an infographic. So really looking at our millennials and looking to keep a bit trendy in maybe a quieter state environment. Another thing that we're doing as part of our ramped up internal communication is really showing the individuals that they matter within the organization. And this is particularly championed by Jackie.
It's my passion. So I believe that every individual in the organization needs to be recognized. Everyone needs to be celebrated. So we have a few things, again, cost us nothing. I asked that budget question earlier because we have zero budget for these initiatives. Really, on someone's birthday, we send out a group mail to the whole company wishing them with a picture of themselves. I go up personally, I give them a hug and a kiss, happy birthday, and a little chocolate. Other things that we do in terms of, and it's like, and everyone automatically claps. So it's got a lovely atmosphere on the floor. Everyone's really feels the energy in the business. So that's the one thing, and that we do for sales, but we also do it for big collections, or we do it for KYC processes, anything that we've worked hard on that's been successful in the organization. A bigger celebration for the company is what we call our Fit to Win days. And that is really where we've signed a massive policy, or we've had really good quarterly results. Then the whole team, you would have seen it on one or two of the pictures, we've got shirts called Fit to Win shirts with all our values on the back. We all wear those shirts to the office that day, and we celebrate our achievements as a team, which is really, really nice. Then more recently, we've got a big project on the go, and we've developed Eat the Elephant One Bite at a Time campaign. And what I've got is a beautiful carved wooden elephant. Her name's Ellie, very original. But she travels around the office depending on who has contributed to that project on that specific day. So that person is publicly recognized, the bell's rung, and Ellie is transferred to that elephant, and she moves around the office. So that will end now 29th of June, and we really have done well with that project. It was insurmountable at the beginning of the month, and we've done it, and we should finish fine by the end of the month.
Yeah, so all these things really, they have such an impact at individual level, but really have cost us nothing. One area that we didn't have an opportunity to spend a bit on was when we moved office a couple of years ago. And we spent a bit on our office decor and layout. Tell us a bit about that, Jackie.
Yeah, so I think that that's also critical. So the working environment, how it looks, how it feels. So our working environment, like a lot of companies, is very open plan, all glass, no doors, lots of color, curved walls. We have a lovely color palette as well, and we've brought that color into the organization. So again, bringing the energy and bringing that homely, family feel into the organization.
So you can hear that we've done quite a lot internally without necessarily needing to have a huge plan at the start of our activity. Now, we needed to find a way to sustain this momentum going forward without necessarily increasing our spend in this area. Tell us a bit about what we did as our next step, Shazia.
Well, basically, we then took to try and, network our employees. So we engaged ourselves in empowering organizations such as the GWII, which is the Gauteng Women in Insurance, and the 30% Club. I think Colleen might have spoken earlier. Oh, no. Sorry. Next time. And then once we signed up to these empowering organizations, then we obtained the Just Say Yes philosophy that if anyone does get an invite to any external networking events, that if you cannot make it, then offer the invite to someone else. And again, if that person can't make it, then continue to pass on that invite. And as we were initially afraid because all our employees are so great and they give such fantastic first impressions, but we realized that we needed to find a way to focus them and support them more.
Yeah, so really leveraging those external networks and taking opportunities as they arise has really helped us to build and keep this momentum going forward. So this is where we are currently on our culture journey. We feel like we've had a lot of success with where we are, but we also still feel that we're very much on this journey still. And we learn all the time from people around us that we interact with. Even some of the other initiatives that we've heard about today are really interesting, and we would definitely look at ways that we can maybe bring some of that into our workplace. So what we really want to leave you with is a few sort of thoughts and learnings that we've garnered along our journey. So we found firsthand that your company's culture impacts directly on the performance of your business. Our recipe for success, which resulted in a performance turnaround, was based on diversity. For us, the key has been to just start your journey. Focus your time and effort. No need for big rollouts or any activations or anything like that. Just get going, and you'll achieve a culture which does support a profitable growth strategy.
But also, you should also concentrate on building a strong pipeline and also focus on female successes, as Jackie's mentioned earlier. And what I can also say is maybe you should spend time on addressing unconscious bias in the workplace, because there's so many different people in your companies, and we need them to interact much better.
Yeah, and from our point of view, what we've done through this process is we built a team of engaged people who are proud to be Coface and who will live your values every single day. And I truly believe our team lives the values every day, and our clients and our suppliers feel it.
Lastly, just ensure that you're looking at building race, gender, and generational diversity, as well as diversity of expertise. Do this in all the areas of your organization, and do it on a daily basis in the small things that you do. And that's our story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very inspiring story. I like the sort of intentionality of it, the clarity around what drives the change. Questions, comments for the Coface team? Stephanie?
Thank you. That was great. We had a chat earlier. It was on your background and with my background, and you said this is a 25-year-long journey.
Yes.
I wanted to find out from you on a personal level, like what 25 years is not a joke, it's a long time. What has kept you, going and kept that ambition and passion alive? Starting as
I was a founder
to now CEO.
So it has been a journey. As I started out, it was never an aspiration of mine. As I said earlier, I love to grow and develop. It's one of my core drivers of myself. So I found myself every 2 or 3 years moving into a different position. I was very lucky early in my career. The CEO, then the founder of the business, really took me under his wing. I was always very shy, and he pushed me into various areas and various positions in the company. He said, "You can do this," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll try." I'm like, "I'll try and do it." So for me, it really has been proving to myself as well. And also, as a woman, I also have felt that I've had to work really hard and put up my hand and proved that I can do it. And for me, it's also a pride thing. So I really have worked to build myself and build my career and bring my team with me. That is also really, really important for me, is the team around me and seeing people grow and develop. There's nothing more rewarding for me. I think that's it. And it's been a path. Every 2 or 3 years I move, I'm growing, I'm developing, and I've seen the business grow and develop from a really, really family, small business to be purchased by a large international group. It's really motivating and really inspiring for me.
Thank you. Other questions, comments for Coface? Yes, go ahead, Stephanie.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I love the whole reverse
Mentoring.
I'm telling you now, I'm taking this back. You're proposing it. But I wanted to find out more about, did you mention succession planning? How do you, I didn't quite get your succession planning.
Yeah.
Because I see your journey as of course, there's a good succession planning journey, and are you doing the same? Something in place, and how does it work?
We do succession plannings. We've got a talent pipeline that we look at, and particularly for our key positions. So we have our key positions that really have the most impact on the organization identified. We also have key employees. We've heard the sort of behaviors coming through in terms of KPI management and measurements in other organizations. Exactly the same situation with us. So in fact, our behaviors and values count for 50% of your performance. So it's really a big emphasis in our organization and equal to what you're doing and the objectives within your role. So through that performance measurement process, we identify our key employees and we look to match them. So are our key employees in our key positions? And if not, how can we get there? We also have a couple of things that we do to make sure that we are looking at diversity. So we have the best female successor identified for every job, or every key position rather. And it doesn't matter if that person's not ready now. It doesn't matter if they're not ready in 5 years. It doesn't matter if they're not ready in 10 years. But what we've got on the table is the best, as an example. So we do it in terms of diversity as well. But the best female successor for that particular role, now we can put a plan in place. So this is something that's quite new for us, but it's now, what do we need to do to close that gap? How can we best make this individual that we've identified ready and capable in terms of this particular role?
And I'd like to maybe add to that. Sarah's intern program, I call it Sarah's because she's the drive and the passion behind it. And it's highly successful for our organization. When we do have leaves and we have a gap in the organization, we can fill it quite quickly with someone else within the organization. And it is a policy to promote from wherever we can. And with the gap that's left with a person that's filling, we can almost immediately fill it with one of our talented interns. So we really have gaps within the organization for a length of time. So the intern program feeds the succession plan and feeds the organization from the bottom, which is so critical in our industry. specifically credit insurance, because it's really small, it's really niche, and the skills are quite technical. So we need to be building young talent from within all the time.
But we're quite lucky in a way. Most of our roles are very technical, but the skills are very translatable within our organization. So once you understand credit insurance, you're equipped to move into any function with the business. So you might have completed your internship as a claims assessor or as a risk underwriter, but you might then move on into the organization to a key account manager or a commercial underwriter. And because you've got really that strong technical background from that program, you don't really have to do much to close the gaps in terms of the role that you're moving within. But you're still learning and developing and getting that opportunity.
Thank you.
Can I quickly say 2 words?
Yes, please.
I just want to congratulate Sarah very publicly and very formally. She's just been elected to be the head of diversity for the MA region, which is a Mediterranean to Africa region within the Coface group. So really, really well done.
Thank you.
And I'd like to say a really big thank you to Shazia, who's actually on maternity leave and is so passionate about the company that she had to come and speak with us today. Thank you, Shazia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jackie. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank
and Shazia.
you.
Thank you once more.